Apple just had their big September event, at which they've launched the new iPhone 16s, the Apple Watch Series 10, the Ultra 2.5, and the AirPods 4, and I've got some thoughts. But in this video, I'll be focusing specifically on the iPhone 16s. Starting off with the standard models, where we got the iPhone 16 and the iPhone 16 Plus in the same sizes as before, 6.1 and 6.7 inches. And for the most part, the leaks were spot on. But there are a couple of additional changes that are even better than in the leaks. For example, we get the same colors as in the dummy units: black, silver, pink, teal, and the new ultramarine. But I actually think Apple's actual colors are even nicer. And I also love the dual-tone look that the darker camera module gives them. I think the new ultramarine color looks especially gorgeous, and if I weren't a sucker for black, that's definitely the color that I would go for. The action button that got leaked is now on the iPhone 16s too, and it does appear to be bigger than on the 15 Pros, something that we did actually see in our most recent dummy units. Then, the capture button that was also leaked now has an official name, and it's called the camera control button, and it too is better than in the leaks. It's got a sapphire crystal lens cover that keeps it protected, plus Apple's first-party cases have a pass-through layer, meaning that you can still use the camera control button even when you've got a case on. Third-party cases will have this cutout. And you can use this button to launch the camera by pressing it once, take a photo by pressing it again, or record a video by holding it. You can also zoom by pressing light and then sliding your fingers up and down, something that I was also predicting would be the case here. However, what was not leaked is that you also have access to a couple of more camera controls. For example, if you double light press, you can adjust settings such as depth, exposure, and more, all of them with a haptic response. I absolutely love the way that Apple implemented this, and I cannot wait to try it out. But the camera control button can do one extra thing which was not leaked at all, and that is visual intelligence. So if you press it once and then you hold it, you immediately get taken to this Google Lens-like mode. Simply point at an object or restaurant, and Apple Intelligence will immediately give you relevant info on, like opening times. This isn't new by any means, Google already had this for years. Same for Samsung. But I believe that this is the fastest way of invoking visual search on any device, as you don't need to open up any app or ask your assistant for help. The main camera is the same as before, although Apple's calling it a fusion camera now, which is actually just a marketing term for that 2x sensor crop zoom. The ultrawide module is actually new though. It's now the same module as on the 15 Pros with a larger aperture and the ability to take macro photos, something that you couldn't do before on the standard models. And thanks to that new vertical camera orientation, we can now take spatial video, something that was also leaked before. However, we can also take spatial photos now, which was not leaked. Although you could already convert standard photos into spatial photos in visionOS 2, so maybe this is what this feature is. Then the A18 chip now replaces the A16, and Apple showed some very significant numbers here. A 2 times faster neural engine, 30% faster CPU, 40% faster GPU, but of course this is all against the A16 and not the A17 Pro. More on that later. So really the main advantage of the A18 is that now you'll get Apple Intelligence on the standard models too, not just the Pros, in addition to ray tracing and being able to play those AAA titles that only the iPhone 15 Pros could play before. And lastly, we also get bigger batteries, with 2 extra hours of video playback on the 16 and 1 extra on the 16 Plus. So despite the 9% smaller battery on the 16 Plus, at least according to the leaks, the battery life itself is actually better, thanks to the more efficient A18 chip, and we also get faster MagSafe charging now at 25 watts as opposed to 15. All in all, the iPhone 16 isn't really a surprise. Everything got leaked before, aside from visual intelligence and the camera modes for the camera button. But there are actually 2 more changes that were also not leaked before, which I think are quite significant. Number 1, the glass is now 50% tougher than the iPhone 15s. So it should withstand drops much better. And number 2, the display can now go as low as 1 nit of brightness, which should make reading at night a far more pleasant experience. So if you combine all of these improvements, the iPhone 16 is actually the biggest upgrade we've ever had on a standard model in many years. And if you're thinking of getting a new base model, now is actually a really good time. Now, before we continue, I want to take a moment to talk about something important to me, my team, and hopefully you guys as well. Last year, we launched our app Wallpapers, with the idea of supporting talented creators from all around the world. Thanks to you guys, we've built a global community where these artists can share their work and grow. Your ongoing support means a lot. it expands opportunities for creators, and also creates a thriving creative community. So I want to thank you guys for being part of this meaningful journey. You can find links to our app wallpapers in the description and enjoy our ever-growing collection of incredibly high-quality 8K art. And if you're a creator, no matter where you're from, don't hesitate to reach out through our app to join our creator community. So yeah, thanks for listening. Now back to the iPhone 16. Okay, so let's talk about the Pro models. And here, almost everything got leaked before as well. The larger 6.3 and 6.9 sizes, check. The new colors, check. Although with some differences here. The Desert Titanium is actually far nicer than in the leaks here. The natural titanium looks to be about the same rather than darker, and the black is actually darker now. The thinner bezels also check. You can't really see this that well from Apple's press images, but from the hands-on videos, you can definitely tell. They're very thin. Now, with the Pro models, we also get the A18 Pro chip, which compared to the A17 Pro inside the 15 Pros, we actually get some more modest improvements, although some are still worth mentioning. Like the 2 times faster ray tracing performance, which I find really impressive, as well as the 15% faster CPU, 20% faster GPU, and 20% less power consumption at the same performance as the A17 Pro. This, of course, combined with the larger batteries, results in some pretty notable battery life improvements. 4 extra hours of video playback on both the 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max. Both models also feature faster MagSafe charging at 25 watts as opposed to 15, with a 50% charge in 30 minutes. Although cable charging seems to be the same as before, which I do find very odd, as MagSafe is not as efficient as cable charging, reason why you need Apple's new 30-watt charger to then charge the iPhone via MagSafe at 25 watts and give you the same speeds as cable charging. Therefore, if you just use this new 30-watt charger to cable charge, you should get faster speeds than before, which were limited to 27 watts. Maybe 50% in 25 minutes or so? Yeah, we'll be testing this and I'll let you guys know. Which brings me to the camera. And this is a very odd one, because the original leaks were pointing towards us getting a brand new close to 1-inch sensor on the 16 Pro Max only. The latest leaks were pointing towards no main sensor changes at all. But both were actually incorrect, because both the 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max actually have a new main sensor, with pretty much the same specs as before. Yeah, so according to Apple, this new main sensor features the 2nd generation quad pixel technology, which you would assume would improve low light performance. Although Apple did not talk about this at all. What I did talk about though is how this new sensor combined with the A18 Pro now allows for 4K 120 frames per second video. And it's not just any 4K 120fps video, but in Dolby Vision, ProRes, and vlog video as well. This Sony camera that I'm recording this video with, which costs double, cannot even do 4K 120, or even ProRes for that matter. So the fact that the iPhone can do both is extremely impressive. Aside from this, we do actually get a brand new camera module, which is a new updated ultra-wide. 48 megapixels in resolution, up from 12, which does support ProRAW as well. Additionally, this sensor actually supports pixel binning too, just like the main camera. So the low light performance should be excellent here. Aside from the weird new main sensor upgrades, another change that wasn't leaked is when it comes to audio. We now have a studio quality 4 microphone array, which now lets you capture spatial audio now, which means that you can now readjust the audio after you've taken the clip to make the audio sound clear, muted, or blended in with the main audio. Kind of like what you see in the movies, as well as multi-layer audio recordings in voice memos. Also, cases. Fine woven is now finally gone. Thanks, Tim. Although the MagSafe wallets still come in 5 woven, so it's not entirely gone. Also, we don't have a replacement for the cases yet. Instead, we only have silicone and the clear cases options, and that's it. So yeah, that's everything majorly new with the iPhone 16s. All in all, pretty much as expected, with some new extras compared to the leaks. But I would love to hear your thoughts, and definitely subscribe as we'll have loads of new iPhone 16 videos in the coming days. I'm Daniel, from ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.